the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Down here, go on the ground.
All the cruisers in the city are coming. If you're not saying down in, you're standing, time to go. You're not going back in.
Yo, who are you touching, bro?
I'm touching you. You're not going back
like
in.
that,
Criminals are criminals regardless of what they disguise themselves as. This is an indisputable fact that doesn't need to be second-guessed. A crime is a crime, and the fact that it was committed by children doesn't lessen the gravity. Some children tend to act like spoilt babies with no regard for common expectations of social manners. It's become a trend to think that your status as a juvenile excludes you from facing the wrath of the law. Most children now use this to their advantage and try to cause commotion whenever they get a chance. But the law is never weak, and it's only right for these mannerless children to feel the heat. In this video, I'll be showing you how 8 mannerless children practically destabilized a particular McDonald's restaurant, to the extent that police officers had to be called to the scene.
What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Down here, go on the ground. Oh, I said, fuck!
On October 18th, 2023, at approximately 3:10 p.m., police officers received a call from CVS Pharmacy that a large group of juveniles were being disorderly. When the police officers got this disturbing call, they rushed to the scene to find out what happened. When they got there, they discovered that the group of juveniles had gone into the McDonald's restaurant. It was quite a flag that they left the pharmacy after causing a disturbance, and then decided to go to the McDonald's restaurant. There was obviously a need for the officers to follow them and ensure that no further disruptions occurred. When the police officers got into the restaurant, they discovered that the juveniles had already started causing another round of disruption. They were informed by the management that the juveniles were no longer allowed to remain within the establishment as a result of their fighting behavior of violence that had taken place before they got into the restaurant.
From the manager, if you just walked in, time to leave, or you're going to be subject to trespass and will be arrested. I gave you the warning before you came in. They didn't want you in here. Time to leave, folks.
It was clear that the juveniles had caused so much drama that their presence just posed the possibility of chaotic occurrence. Of course, these well-behaved juveniles needed to be warned and made to behave, so the police officers had to have a talk with them. They decided to confront the juveniles and communicate the request to the McDonald's management. But just as expected, these children wanted to be involved in drama and decided to turn a deaf ear to all the efforts that were put in place by the police officers.
All right, you don't want to go? You want to give me a hard time? No problem. You are giving me a hard time, because how many times did I say time to go?
How much use the bathroom?
How many times? If you don't start leaving, my handcuffs are coming on. First person that grabs going. You already ordered? Come over here.
I'm certainly sure that this doesn't come as a surprise for most of us. It's a trend these days, and I think it's safe to say that most of us are getting used to it. The officers tried to make the juveniles understand the gravity of the situation at hand, but instead, they became confrontational with the officers and refused to comply with the notice of trespass that had been brought up by the management.
No, time to go. I know you just didn't say what I think you said. It's time to go. I'm not playing around now. Listen, from the manager, he wants everybody out, okay? So you either start leaving, I'm telling you that, okay? I already talked to the manager, so you either start leaving, or we're gonna start locking people up. We have other people here.
I've been here.
All right, time to go.
Eventually, when the officers tried to make an attempt to arrest for trespassing, the juveniles decided to interfere with the arrest. Yes, you actually heard that right. These juveniles, or rather like I prefer to call them, children, thought it was okay or within their right to interfere with the arrest.
All the cruisers in the city are coming. If you're not saying down in, you're standing, time to go. You're under arrest.
What?
You're under arrest. You're under arrest. Rewind. Back up.
That's the little man, bro. That's the little man, bro. Chill, nigga.
Back up. Yo.
Gun?
Everybody go. Take my shit.
Yo, nigga. Yo, why you got me by my fucking neck? The fuck is
Nigga, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? I don't need to go on the ground. Oh, I said.
The level of disrespect and bad behavior demonstrated by these juveniles is just undoubtedly baffling. They interfered with the arrest by resisting the officers and attempting to interject themselves. Now, I think it's more reasonable to carefully break down what actually happened and how things escalated pretty quickly. When the police officers walked in and got the complaint from the management, they specifically made an announcement to the group of juveniles and told them they were supposed to leave just as the management had requested, or else they were going to get arrested for trespassing. This goes to show that they were actually warned, and it was not a heat in the moment of arrest. If a person is strictly told not to do something and they go ahead to do it, it's definitely not your fault if the consequences catch up with them. That's the same thing that happened with these juveniles. Even while the police officer spoke to them, they stood rooted in their spots and refused to listen to him. They ignored his presence and completely acted like they could not hear him telling them to leave. Now, this is obviously the first sign that these juveniles are not just bad behaved, but rude. The police officer went as far as telling them to leave it, else he would handcuff the first person he grabbed. They heard him, but they stayed. Some of them claimed to have already ordered something, so the officer asked them to stand to the side. One of the juveniles went as far as being disrespectful and flipping off the police officer when all he tried to do was tell him to leave. He decided to ask the officer why he was meant to leave and why he couldn't just stay.
Stay here, but we're kicking everybody out. We've got more cars coming.
There's all these other people here that's not ordering, so get them out.
But right now, I'm talking to you.
So your dick riding.
Yep, time to go.
Yeah, so your dick riding, so you're gay.
What is it?
So you're gay.
All right, that's what it is. Go.
The officer tried to explain that it was the wish of the management for them to leave the property. But even while the officer tried to explain things to him, he decided to ask why they were the only ones being asked to leave when there were other people still present. He also pointed out the fact that there were other people still walking into the restaurant at that point in time. It's safe to say that he was feeling some type of way when he noticed that it was only him and his group that was being asked to leave. Well, the rules are the rules, and it's not going to change for anyone. If you do not want to be treated differently or excluded from a public space, you just learn to behave properly and avoid unnecessary fights and disruptions. Until you're able to do that, be ready to be treated differently.
Go. You're not going back in.
Yo, who is you touching, bro?
I'm touching you. You're not going back in. Time to go.
Go.
Yo, come over here. That's my little brother. He's coming with me too, all right? That's my little brother's coming. That's my cousin.
No, he's not.
That's my little brother right there.
You're about to go. He's not coming in. He's not coming in.
Actions always have consequences, and it was right about time for the juveniles to understand that. The juvenile who had the audacity to question why he and his group were the only ones being sent out also asked the police officer to send the other people in the restaurant out first before he would leave. He spoke like he had a lot of options, and like he was the one who called the shots. When the police officer refused, he decided to start getting disrespectful and using a lot of swear words when referring to the police officer. It was utterly disrespectful and uncalled for, but this juvenile decided to take this route. Now, if you think that the drama ended there, you are absolutely wrong. The second person that was interviewed by the police officer had to be 10 times worse than the first person. He attempted to go back into the restaurant even after he was sent out. The police officer tried to drag him back, but he slapped the officer's hands off and asked him why he touched him. While that conversation was going on and things were getting heated, the other members of the group decided to come around and confront the police officer together. It was literally looking like an ambush, to say the least. Even while the officer tried to cool things down and act reasonably, they refused to comply and kept on telling him he had no right to stop them from entering the restaurant. One of them went as far as asking him what he would do if they disobeyed him. Of course, the officer told him that he would get arrested, but this individual wanted to act like a gangster. Him and the rest of the group asked the officer why he thought he could arrest them and for what reason.
What are you gonna do about it?
We're gonna lock you up.
You're gonna get locked up. You're gonna get locked up.
For what?
Well,
For what?
for what?
For what?
They don't want you here. You're about to get locked up.
He's not gonna stay and get my food. That dog. I've been locked up. I know my right. Watch your mouth.
Time to go.
You can't touch no one. That's on dead dogs. Suck my fucking.
The officer made it clear to him that he and his group were not wanted in the restaurant, and that's more than enough reason to ask them to leave. But this particular individual got offended and kept on saying he needed to get his food and was not ready to wait outside. He started getting confrontational and telling the officer he'd been locked up before. Well, with the kind of attitude he had, I don't think that comes up as a surprise to anyone. In addition to that, he also claimed to know his rights, and therefore, he couldn't get locked up just like that. Things got quite interesting from there. He even told the officer to watch his mouth. Yes, you definitely heard that right. The Sake individual who was being chaotic and charging up for absolutely no reason. He also claimed that he was aware that the officer couldn't touch any of them. Well, I guess he didn't expect the turnout of events at the end of the day. He kept swearing at the officer unprovoked and tried to act like some sort of tough guy. Now, I think that doesn't come as a surprise because he's definitely not the first juvenile to act that way. When they are in groups, one of them always tries to toughen up to impress the rest of the group. Now, after all these rants and unnecessary attitude, they were bound to be humbled when the handcuffs finally hit their hands. So the officer went back inside to warn them one last time, but no one listened. So, along with his partner, he grabbed the first person on site and told him he was under arrest. He tried to resist as the officer attempted to handcuff him. It became chaotic as the rest of the group tried to make a scene and some of them tried to intervene with the arrest. The guy who was arrested kept cussing at the officers and tried to move away on his own despite the fact that he was in handcuffs. He kept on shouting, and then the rest of the group came outside and tried to intervene.
What the fuck, nigga? Yo, what the fuck, nigga? What the fuck, nigga? Yo, get up off me, nigga. Yo, get up off me, nigga. Yo, get off me, nigga. Get off me, nigga. Yo, get off me, nigga. Get the fuck off me, nigga. Yo, my fucking neck, nigga. Get the fuck off me, nigga.
The officers grabbed two of them and pinned them to the wall in an attempt to stop them from intervening. The other officers conducted the second arrest and handcuffed the second juvenile. At this point, the wise ones had started to back away because it became clear that things had gotten heated, and they could see that the police didn't come to joke. At the end of the day, all they really needed was a scapegoat. An additional arrest had to take place with a female who refused to listen to the officers and disregarded their warning to leave the property.
I'm good.
Ross! Anybody
What the fuck is wrong with this nigga? What the fuck is wrong with this nigga, bro? Slam me for no reason and shit. I should fuck you up. What the fuck is wrong with you, nigga? What the fuck is wrong with you? Shit's mad crazy, nigga. Nigga, I can stand up, nigga. What the fuck, nigga?
They had to push her against the wall to secure the handcuffs as a result of her resistance. The whole property became chaotic and noisy as a result of the arrests and disruptions. One of the arrested individuals still tried to resist and not cooperate with the officers, but he soon had to learn the hard way. They explained to him that he refused to leave even after he was told to leave the store numerous times. He said he was hungry and didn't eat all day, so he had to go get food to eat. They asked him why he didn't have lunch at school, and he said he didn't eat lunch at school because it wasn't good.
You were told to leave numerous times. I told you to leave. I told you don't come back in the store. I told you not to come back in, and then you came back in.
I don't get to eat shit all day. I'm hungry. I'm gonna get food if I need to get food, bro. It's like that. I don't
Why
care.
didn't you have lunch at school?
Nigga, I don't eat that lunch. Nigga, it's not good.
Okay, so that's your fault.
Like, fuck.
But at the end of the day, he still had to be arrested because he refused to listen. If you want to eat peacefully and not end up handcuffed, you need to behave accordingly and have simple manners. Failure to do so will certainly not end well.